All right, I'd like to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Natrona County Planning and Zoning Commission to order here this afternoon at 5:31. Introduce the commissioners. My name's Hal Hutchinson. I'm the chair. To my right is Mr. Robert Grant, the commissioner, and to my left, Mr. Matt Mitchell, another commissioners. And I guess we have excused absences for Mr. Zeal and Mr. Gutierrez today. I'd like to also introduce staff, the director Megan Nelms, senior planner Holly Wilhelm, and associate planner Lori Hall. And in addition, we have county attorney Eric Nelson in attendance. So this commission is the advisory board of the Natrona County Commissioners. Our decisions are subject to approval, conditional approval, denial, or modification by the Board of County Commissioners for each application on the agenda. We will hold an official public hearing. These hearings are recorded and there will be written minutes of this meeting. After the commission holds a public hearing, unless an application is tabled or withdrawn, the Board of County Commissioners will hold another public hearing for the application. Everyone will have an opportunity to address the commission tonight. Doesn't look like we have a whole lot of folks in the gallery. So first we give those in favor of the application get a chance to come up and address the Planning and Zoning Commission. Then those opposed, and finally the applicant may give a brief rebuttal. When the chair recognizes you, please come to the podium and clearly state your name and address before giving your comments. And I think we're going to dispense with the last part. So would you please stand? We're going to give the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item of business is approval of the meeting minutes. So that is the meeting from June 14th, 2022. The chair would entertain a motion for consideration of those minutes.
I would motion to approve the minutes from the June 14th, 2002 County Planning Commission.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. I did notice one small typo. I thought everything was done real well, but there's a small typo in the middle of page 7. The end of, just before that big paragraph there, IUN. I think that should be just in.
Which paragraph was that?
The middle paragraph, the big one on page 7. Third line from the bottom.
Ah, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, as adjusted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The meetings are approved. Next on the agenda is new business. Case number 22.03 CUP, conditional use permit, geodynamics, conditional use permit, request to store explosives. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It is case 22.03 CUP, a request by Geodynamics for a conditional use permit to store explosive materials. Their agent is Brett Lehman, and to summarize, Geodynamics has moved its warehouse distribution center from 2122 Melody Lane to 1359 Willer Drive in Casper, which is legally described as Lot 66, Westgate Park 3. It's a 1.03 acre lot that's zoned light industrial. The purpose of the request is to store oil field completions equipment, including shaped charges for perforating, steel carriers for conveyance, plugs for zonal isolation, and other related equipment. A conditional use permit was granted to Geodynamics for the same use at the 2122 Melody Lane address in 2019. There is an existing shop building on the new lot they're proposing to move to, approximately 230 by 150 feet in size, and some outdoor storage equipment. Their water and sewer source is the Wardwell Water and Sewer District. And the following planning considerations will be applicable. In granting the conditional use, the commission and board shall be guided by the provisions in Chapter 1, Section 1. Those are as follows. Will granting the CUP contribute to an overburdening of county services? No. Will granting the CUP cause undue traffic, parking, population density, or environmental problems? Staff also feels no. Granting the conditional use permit will not impair the use of any adjacent property or alter the character of the neighborhood, and it will not detrimentally affect the public health, safety, and welfare. And the following permit conditions would apply. They will allow the development department, upon prior notice to enter the property, to inspect the land and/or structures where the conditional use is located to ensure compliance with all conditions of the permit. They shall have no zoning violations on the subject property, and they shall comply with all applicable state and federal regulations regarding storage of ammunition and explosives. And with that, staff recommends approval and vote by the Planning Commission to recommend approval of the requested conditional use permit to the Board of County Commissioners. And I can answer any questions, and the applicant is in the audience.
Questions for Megan?
I just have one question. So I was kind of reading about those type 2, whatever, ATF. Is that just one magazine that you store on site? Or does it mean you can store multiple ones on site? And I guess the other thing too is they talked about ATF offsets. And is that based on the magazine, or is that based on the amount of explosives that's in the magazine?
I would defer those questions to the applicant.
Depends upon how much you have.
Is it?
The interactions we have with the ATF regarding explosives or munitions manufacturing is usually just verifying the zoning district and that they can locate that.
The ATF has a strict table of measurements.
It sounds like that.
There's, yeah.
Are you the applicant?
Huh?
Are you the applicant?
I'm George Herden. I'm here to represent Geodynamics. I'll be there.
Please.
Okay. So what I think you might be asking about is like with the ATF and what we can store for explosives there is our like table of distance to another facility or building around us and whether they're going to be barricaded or not. We could have 10 mags out there and store something in there, but we can't go over a certain weight what the ATF sets for us at, from our table distance of our surrounding neighbors. So right now, the way we're set up is for 30 pounds. As of right now, with my weight limit being low, I don't actually keep the shape charges there. It's just more my smaller, lighter stuff. So that way I don't approach anywhere near the legal limit of where I'm supposed to store.
So now that you're up here, you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about your project? Anything more that we didn't
So.
get to with staff report?
So there's only 4 of us that work out of that facility. I'm the only one that deals with the explosives in and out of there. There are some other guys that deal with like the plugs that for oil field type tools. We distribute a lot of the explosives to the wireline companies that are even around our facility. We have Patriot, or not Patriot, yeah, Patriot's kind of close, but Pioneer's right down the road from us too. And so we're actually moving closer to our customers and making it more convenient for us. I guess, I'm sorry, this is my first meeting here.
you're fine.
What else would you like to know?
Did you, I have a question. Did you guys ever get set up on Melody Lane
Yes.
with this same explosives deal, and now you just want to move it, I assume, to a better site
Yes, sir.
out there on?
We were leasing that facility on Melody Lane, and since Oil States owns us, what they did is our lease ended over there, so we're actually moving over to the Oil States facility, so our overhead costs are a lot cheaper.
Okay. Okay.
Are you going to be cramped for space going from 15 acres to 1 acre?
No. All of our stuff will be primarily held inside. We don't keep any like loaded charges or anything inside the facility. Everything will be kept outside.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, you might just want to hang out there just for a moment because we're going to start a public hearing, and I suspect you'd want to be in favor,
Yes, sir.
although you could be against if you wanted to. All right, I'd like to call a public hearing to order for case number 22.03, conditional use permit, geodynamics conditional use permit, request to store explosives. So, anyone in favor?
Aye.
Anything else you want to add?
No, sir, not at this time.
All right, did I get your name right? George Herman?
Herden, H-E-R-D-E-N.
And did we get your address?
My physical address or the facility address?
Whichever one.
Facility address is 1359 Willer, W-I-L-L-E-R, Drive, Casper, Wyoming, 82604.
Okay, Mr. Herden, anything else?
None unless you guys have any other questions for me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward?
These are all people
Yeah,
with
they're all
me.
people. I do have the specific, like, table of distance chart and everything, if y'all need that as well, just to kind of see what he was talking about and all that.
Is that the drawing that we had in the application that had the different distances to the different buildings?
I don't know if I gave you the table of distance chart. I gave you the pictures, I think.
Could we get your name and address while we're waiting?
Courtney Story. My physical address is 1201 McClendon Road. It's McClendon, Weatherford, Texas, 76088.
Okay,
And those are the max. Oh, you do have them, okay. I have the physical, I don't know if I gave you this, I do have the physical table of distance chart that actually gives you the actual table of distance as well, and exactly what is in each magazine if you need that.
so I assume that's all information that's necessary to go with the ATF application?
Yes, we have to send all this to ATF, and it's part of what was required to transfer the CPU to Wheeler Drive from the Melody Lane address as well.
Okay. Would you guys like to see that information or just defer to ATF?
I'm okay deferring it. I just have if I can ask one question.
Go ahead.
Do they base that on the type of explosive? Like if you're, like, is a blasting cap, I guess, like, how do they base that distance? Is it based on the explosive or?
They kind of rate it two different ways. It's rated by the type of magazine, because there's different types of magazines that can be used depending on what explosive is going to be put in them. And depending on the type of magazine and what is around you, and if it is barricaded, the magazine is going to be barricaded or unbarricaded, that will tell ATF, okay, we can put 30 pounds in there, we can put 500 pounds in there. And they go by how far you are from the nearest inhabited building, how far you are from the nearest road, how far you are from the nearest highway. And then they come back. We have to send all this information, as well as, it's called a magazine worksheet. We fill it out, we send all the information with what types of locks we have, what types of barricades we have, what type of magazine it is, what explosives are going to be stored in that magazine, and the exact distance from each of those locations. And then they'll come back and say, yay or nay, or you can put this much in there, but it's going to be only 30 pounds, depending on just where everything's located at.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So, and does the ATF then come out and inspect it, or you do just give them a report that says what you have out there?
The ATF can, yes. They will show up. They do regular ATF inspections to keep our licenses and make sure we're up to date. We're not doing, we're following their rules as well as your guys' for any permits y'all may have.
Anything?
That's good.
Thank you, Ms. Story.
Most welcome.
Okay, we've got 2 out of the 3. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none. Call for the end of the public hearing. Commissioners, any discussion?
No,
Chair,
I'm familiar with them and that they run a tight ship.
okay, thank you. Chair would entertain a motion for consideration of the application.
I move that we approve 2022.03 CUP.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, call for the vote. All in favor of conditional use permit 22-03, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. It's 3-0. Thank you all.
Thank you. Is that
Alright.
everything you need from us?
Yes, sorry, we have you all scheduled for approval by the Board of Commissioners on August 16th, but I'll email you, Courtney, and let you know all that information on what night to be here. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment? They're leaving. You guys don't have any comment, do you? Thank you. All right. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, right now, we have nothing scheduled for your August 9th meeting. However, we do still plan to advertise and hold a special meeting on August 23rd for you to hold a public hearing and offer review and recommendation of the draft of the zoning resolution update.
Do we have a time for that set?
5:30 PM, regular meeting time, but on August 23rd.
Do I understand that by not having anything in hand for August 9th, that's gone away? We can safely say that's,
Yes, I would safely say that August 9th is canceled. And so we will provide notice that that meeting is being canceled and then notice of the special meeting on the 23rd, Tuesday, the 23rd.
Okay.
Calendars from last year.
and I understand we're to expect the zoning rewrite tomorrow?
Yes, I hope to have it to the Planning Commission and the Steering Committee for the zoning update tomorrow.
Okay. And one last thing I understand, for September 19th, we have an open house on the,
Yes, out at the Agricultural Resource Building, we will have an open house for the public to come and review and give comment on the zoning resolution. Yes, Monday, September 19th. We're hopeful that the BOCC will be able to put the proposed rules out for public comment for 45 days on September 6th.
What time is it?
The open house is from 5 to 7 on September 19th. That's a Monday.
5, you say 5?
5 PM to 7 PM. And we'll send reminders, and we're going to send postcards out countywide like you all did at the beginning of the zoning kickoff. So we'll try to get it out there as best we can. If everybody wants to stop by the Fair Industrial Building, we have a booth out there with information about the zoning update and the Casper Mountain Plan update, so you can check that out. That's about
All right.
all I got.
Anything else for the good of the order? All right,